I am here today to make an announcement, but before I do that, I want to take a couple minutes and explain to you how it is that I came to be standing here today and doing this. I moved to Alaska when I was 19 years old in 1978. I came here looking for adventure, and I soon found it in the waters of Cook Inlet. I was working on a platform offshore 5 miles and began working my way up from the absolute bottom in the oil industry. I started as a bowl cook, washing pots and pans, and got promoted to being a roustabout, handling drill pipe and getting it up to the rig floor. And then I got trained as a production operator, learning how to separate oil from the water and gas it comes out of the ground with. After 5 years on that rig, I learned a lot about the value of hard work. And then I went to the North Slope, where I worked for Arco at Kuparuk, the second largest oil field in North America. And those were peak production years. 2 to 2.1 million barrels of oil were moving down the pipeline every day, and every single shift was a friendly competition with the other shifts to see who could run the plant harder, at higher pressure, and put up better numbers. We called it making oil, and when the bosses would come into the control room, the first question they'd ask would be, "What are you making?" That's what they wanted to know about. And it was also on the North Slope that I met someone very special, very, very special, and I'd like to introduce you to my wife, Peggy Pepper French. Peggy was the single best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And in 1987, we were lucky enough to stand together on the top of Mount McKinley after a 21-day climb. Wow. The next year we got married. Our son Christopher was born in October, and Peggy left the slope to stay home and raise him. And about that time, I decided it was time for me to get out of the oil industry. And so I began to finish a degree I'd started on a long time ago, because it didn't make sense to quit that good job unless I had something better to go off to. So I started taking classes on my days off at UAA. I'd do 7 12-hour shifts on the North Slope, come home, go to UAA for a full class load, go back to work and study at night or in the morning, depending on my shift, come back and take classes, and I did that for several years until I got my degree. At that point, it made sense to keep going, and so in 1992, Peggy and Chris and I all went off to law school together, coming back to Alaska every summer because there's no place to be besides right here in the summertime, as you all know. But it wasn't summers off of work. I began to intern at the Anchorage District Attorney's Office. And when I graduated from law school, they were kind enough to offer me a job. We are here for a reason. We are here at the human crossroads and air crossroads of Alaska, and I'm thrilled to be standing underneath that plane taking off. So, I got hired at the DA's office, and I started there at the bottom. Jake Metcalf is here, and Jake knows you start off doing theft cases and DWI cases, and then domestic violence assault cases. And then I went to the narcotics unit and did those cases, and then I went to the special assault unit handling crimes against women and children, very sensitive, very difficult cases. And I finished my career there in the violent crimes unit, doing the most serious robberies, home invasions, assaults, and homicides. I was a good prosecutor. I took the job very seriously. What I particularly liked about that job was that it's your obligation to seek justice as a prosecutor and not just win cases. In 2002, I ran for the state senate and got elected there. So I left that job and went to a new one, and I brought my work ethic with me. I think it's fair to say that I am an enthusiastic state senator. I love my job. I love public service. And that really brings me to today's announcement. As of today, I am a candidate for governor for the state of Alaska.